What if I were to tell you that right now, where we're all sitting here, 1,000 people across this country and up in Canada are working their way out of poverty by talking in circles? I've had the privilege for the last 25 years to visit hundreds of communities, and my message has always been the same. We can and we should end poverty. We have all of the resources and then some to do it. We even actually have the know-how. You can trust me on this. I've seen everything practically, programs from coast to coast. I know we know how to do this. We just haven't decided to do this yet. Now, how would a kid like me from the burbs get interested in addressing poverty? It's a good question. You know, my friends and I in high school, we had 3 global concerns: golf, graduation, and girls. That was it. We were thinking about this all the time. And so poverty was not on our radar. I went to school to become an architect. That was so wonderfully wrong for me that I came back wildly discouraged. Christmas break, I'm depressed. I go see to my friend, Father Paul, what should I do? I don't want to become an architect. Scott, why don't you take your mind off your own problems? Go help people with real problems. Well, what should I do? Volunteer at a homeless shelter. Father Paul, what's a homeless shelter? Yeah, I was raised in a bubble. 18 years old, knew nothing about them. I was desperate though, emotionally. I just wanted to do something that would change my life. And so I went to the homeless shelter and I spent 5 weeks volunteering during my Christmas break. It completely changed my life. I went back to college, got out of architecture, got into the business school, organizational behavior, sociology, got a degree in business, went straight into social work, just like everyone else does. Yeah, my dad in the Christmas letter that year said, well, Scott got a business degree and he's a social worker, but he loves it. Because of my business perspective at this point, I was able to just quickly look into the system we've got, and I'm following the money. And I'm asking myself, who's getting paid to get people out of poverty? Who? And then I'm looking, why has the poverty rate stayed the same for decade after decade after decade? And I began to realize what we have is a poverty management system. It manages poverty. The rate never goes up or down much. We just manage it. Now, why is that? All of us were raised in one of 5 groups. Group 1, really scary poverty, awful poverty, kids not getting enough to eat, people being homeless, violence, people die early and younger in Group 1. You get a PhD in survival if you're living in Group 1. It's unnecessary, and we have millions of people living in Group 1. Group 2, getting by. You know, 1 job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, but 1 paycheck away from all the wheels coming off the cart. Group 3, making it, kind of. 3 to 5 paychecks away from a financial disaster, right? Group 4, the American dream. Well, this is fun. Click, click, buy a house, fill it up with stuff. Get bored with the stuff, give it to Goodwill. Click, click, fill it back up again. Vacations, Starbucks membership, Group 4. Group 5, science fiction money. More money than you can imagine. The sky's not even the limit. It's rocket ship money. Right? We've all been born in one of these 5 groups. We're living in one of these groups right now. And what we all have in common is that we're more comfortable with our peeps in that group. It's a little awkward interacting with people that are in very different income groups. Well, my theory about the poverty management system is it was designed by people in groups 4 and 5 without ever consulting people in groups 1, 2, or 3. And we wanted to do something different. It was the late 90s. And so we started this approach called circles. We got people that wanted to get out of poverty, a circle with them, and said, let's meet some people that have more than enough money and they got time in their hands and they want to do something meaningful. So we brought these 2 groups together. Magic happened. It was incredible what happened. One of the first nights, we're having dinner and Betty sits down next to me. Betty's got this massive headache. Her kids have headaches. Betty, what happened? Well, you know, it's cold out and we got to keep the windows closed and it takes 20 minutes to get to this meeting and we got holes in the floorboard. So the gas fumes come up. It always gives us headaches. She says this matter-of-factly. Carrie, my friend, who's from Group 4, his eyes are getting bigger at the story. This is new to him. And then she says in a quieter voice, and we had to sleep in the kitchen again last night. Well, why did you sleep in the kitchen? Because the furnace went out. We had to turn the stove on, open the door just to stay warm. Carrie's eyeballs are as big as his head. He can't believe the story. He takes it upon himself to get into a conversation with Betty. And within a day, he got that furnace replaced. Took it upon himself to do it. When we are in relationship, we can't just turn things off. We can't just make an excuse for why there's poverty. We want to do something, especially when people are doing what they can do to get things to come together. We're hardwired to help. But what we need is a safe and productive way to do that. So Circles has perfected this process. We have groups all across the country and up in Canada. We're getting people out of poverty. We can see what that takes. Well, I've been waiting for the opportunity to actually have the chance to get the poverty rate to come down somewhere. What would happen if we replaced this poverty management system with a prosperity system? I don't know if you know, Jimmy at one of these meetings said to me, hey, you know what? You got to deal with the cliff effect. What's that, Jimmy? If I take this job with the extra pay or the extra hours, I could lose all my benefits. Well, isn't there a calculator to figure out, well, no, you do it and you see what happens. You roll the dice. This is the byproduct of a poverty management system. Why would we disincentivize people from doing exactly what we want them to do? Well, because we're not held accountable for people getting out of poverty, and we're not accountable to getting that rate to come down. Believe me, if we changed the game and the money came, if you made progress, you helped people make progress out of poverty, that cliff effect, it'd be gone by Tuesday. Couldn't get paid with it. And yet, we still have that problem. Well, I have exciting news for you. The great state of Tennessee wrote us into a contract. We're working on a $200 million project starting this fall. We're going to get 1,600 kids and their families out of poverty in the upper Cumberland region of Tennessee. We are going to take the human service system and we're going to attach it to the economic development system. Where is this economy going? Does anybody know where the economy is heading post-COVID? Not really, but you got to stay close to the action. People need to be qualified for this new world. Everything that we do in Circles has to be relevant for helping this person get through the process of getting out of crisis, getting stabilized, getting prepared for the new jobs, getting placed, and advancing. That's what's going to help people get out of poverty, moving through that process. I could actually be part of a change in the world. Imagine this world without poverty. Just put your mind around that for a minute. Imagine how fabulous this world will be when we decide to end poverty. We have the means. We have the knowledge. We have the wherewithal. We need the intent and we need the love to come out of ourselves into other people. And this magic of Circles can be unleashed. So let's start talking in circles together. Let's end poverty. It's time.